Hi, Rudy and whoever else is watching. My name is Emily and this is my making of video for my motion graphic. For the independent project, I wanted to make a motion graphic because I want to extend my skills in 3D camera work and lighting. So firstly, within planning, I started by creating some visual scripts and some early references to make for later on. This helped me plan the pacing and overall tone for the entire thing, which is what I wanted. So one of the most challenging parts was animating the opening of the hand with the puppet tool. However, it did not look good. It looked flat. It just kind of looked alien because I didn't use enough pins. So I scrapped that approach and took photos of my own hand rolling outwards and used a stop motion attempt instead, and this actually worked a lot better. So next was the dice roll, which admittedly was the most time consuming part of the entire project. It took me so long to animate the dice rolling out of a hand in a normal looking way, and I found it very difficult because there were so many different compositions that I had to keep switching in between because we'd connected the dice control to a different part of the composition. It taught me to be patient and that refining 3D areas of the project is definitely more important than making something that doesn't look realistic whatsoever. So I added the 3D camera and obviously connected it to a null object so I can control it in that way. I started giving the movement keyframes of where I wanted the camera to go, inwards and outwards and moving across, turning downwards, things like that. So I wanted to work with the depth of field, adding objects behind others to make it look like there was, more going on in the space. And I've never properly used the 3D camera in After Effects before in long term, so I actually was quite happy with how I'd done for pretty much my first try at the whole thing. I also researched and tested some 3D lighting. So to begin with, I did a bit of a testing session with just a simple circle object on top of rectangle. However, I was very confused because the object wasn't emitting shadows onto the background. So I found the button that was cast shadows, which, you'd think would obviously be there, but you had to go down a couple of tabs. So it was good to know that before going into the real thing, because I feel like I would have had a lot of frustration with that. And creating the main lighting with keyframes was really fun. I really enjoyed using a spotlight on the DJ deck. I think that made it look more clubby and interesting and had a bit more depth. I feel like I could have definitely experimented more with it, but it had enough depth to show that, I've experimented with lighting and I enjoyed it, and I would like to add more depth to it next time. Another thing about my project which I think made it look a lot better was adding a turbulent displace effect, and that also led me to learn about expressions. Obviously I knew what expressions were before, but I barely really used them and they were quite intimidating to me. So something that I definitely learned the hard way was file organization. My project was very messy in terms of that, which kind of extended my time for how long I was taking going between compositions, because I had so many open that I didn't need to be open, and I hadn't named any of my layers. So I found it very difficult to identify them and make sure that everything was intact. So overall, with this project, I think I have learnt a fair bit in After Effects. I think I'm a lot more confident in a lot of areas. I can confidently say I can use the 3D camera well enough. I want to explore that more in the future. I can work with 3D lighting, which I'd never done before, and I think it worked okay. Bit more stop motion gave me some more experience. I've done this before, but it gave me a little bit more time to work with it. And I learned some more advanced keyframing skills and learned about expressions in After Effects, which was very cool and fun.